Siberia, a name that conjures images of endless ice, snow, and silence. It's one of the most remote places on Earth where few dare to live. In this frozen wilderness, a team of Russian scientists set out on an extraordinary mission. Not for gold or oil, but to drill deeper into the Earth than anyone ever had. Their project, the Kola Super Deep Borehole, was a symbol of Cold War ambition and scientific curiosity. The drilling rig towered over the tundra, its steel frame defiant against the relentless cold. Day and night, the drill bit chewed through rock, pushing further into the unknown. The work was grueling and dangerous. The team lived in isolation, focused entirely on the hole. For years, they pressed on, celebrating each new record as they ventured where no human had gone. They collected rock samples, uncovering layers of Earth's history. But as they drilled deeper, the project took a strange turn. The Earth began to defy their expectations. The deeper they went, the more unpredictable things became. The scientists encountered bizarre phenomena, temperatures and conditions no one had predicted. The Kola Super Deep Borehole was about to become famous, but not for the reasons they'd hoped. What started as a quest for knowledge was turning into a journey into the unknown. The team's discoveries challenged everything they thought they knew about the planet. The hole became more than a scientific project. It became an obsession. The further they drilled, the more the Earth seemed to resist. The project was no longer just about geology. It was about confronting the mysteries hidden beneath our feet. The scientists were pioneers, but they were also trespassers in a world untouched by humanity. The deeper they went, the more they sensed they were not just breaking rock, but breaking boundaries. The silence of Siberia was replaced by a growing sense of unease. The Kola Super Deep Borehole was a doorway to secrets the Earth had kept for millennia. What they found would shake the foundations of science and haunt those who witnessed. The story of the world's deepest hole was about to become a legend not of triumph, but of terror. In the heart of Siberia, the edge of the world, the abyss was waiting, and soon it would answer back. The drill bit spun relentlessly, plunging past 910. Then 11 miles territory no one had ever reached. The pressure and heat were staggering, but the team pressed on, gathering data that rewrote textbooks. They found water where none should exist, and every day brought new discoveries. But then the temperature readings spiked far beyond predictions. At over 12 kilometers deep, the heat soared to 180 degrees Celsius, nearly double what they expected. The equipment began to fail, drill bits wore out. Repairs became constant. The Earth was fighting back. The scientists recalculated, but the numbers didn't lie. The deep Earth was a furnace. This changed everything they knew about geothermal gradients, but the heat wasn't the only anomaly. As they drilled deeper, an eerie silence settled over the project. The expected rumbles and vibrations vanished, replaced by a void. The mood in the camp shifted from excitement to unease. The data was bizarre, the Earth unpredictable. The scientists, grounded in logic, found themselves facing a mystery they couldn't explain. The deeper they went, the more the project felt less like science and more like trespassing. The combination of extreme heat and unnatural silence was unsettling. The team realized they were standing on the edge of something vast and unknown. The Kola Super Deep Borehole was no longer just a scientific endeavor, it was a journey into the heart of a mystery. The earth beneath them was not the predictable sphere they'd studied. It was wild, unpredictable, and perhaps even alive. The project's purpose shifted from exploration to survival. The scientists were no longer just observers, they were participants in something far greater. The hole was changing them and the world around them. They had no idea what they were about to uncover. The unknown was waiting just beyond the next layer of rock. The strange conditions deep in the borehole left the scientists searching for answers. To understand what was happening, they decided to listen to the earth itself. They engineered a special microphone built to survive the crushing pressure and searing heat miles below. This device would be their ear in the darkness, capturing the hidden sounds of the planet. The day came to lower the microphone. The drill fell silent. Anticipation filled the air. The team gathered, watching as the cable unspooled, sending the device into the abyss. Down it went, past miles of rock, into the zone of extreme heat. On the surface, they connected the microphone to powerful speakers and recording equipment. Dr. Azekal, the project leader, oversaw the operation, expecting to hear the groans of shifting rock. The team leaned in, listening for the heartbeat of the planet. Static filled the speakers at first. The scientists adjusted the dials, waiting for a signal. The silence was thick, the tension palpable. They hoped for geological data. But what they were about to hear would defy all expectations. The wilderness around them was silent, but the depths were about to speak. The experiment was simple: listen and record. But the result would be anything but ordinary. The team was about to hear something no one had ever heard before. The earth was ready to reveal its darkest secret. The speakers crackled, at first just static. The team waited, disappointment creeping in. Then, a low rumble emerged, like distant thunder. It could have been geological activity, until the sound changed. Louder, more distinct, and then unmistakable voices. Not one, but thousands, maybe millions, screaming in agony. The scientists froze, faces pale. These were not the sounds of rock or gas. They were human screams filled with terror and pain. The recording lasted only 17 seconds before the microphone failed, likely destroyed by the heat. But those seconds were unforgettable. The team had listened to something that defied logic and science. The sound was a chorus of suffering, a nightmare echoing from the depths. The scientific mission had taken a dark turn. The hole was no longer just a borehole. It was a portal to something terrifying. The scientists stared at each other, unable to explain what they'd heard. The project's purpose was shattered. Fear replaced curiosity. The Kola Super Deep Borehole had become a legend overnight. The world's deepest hole had revealed a secret no one wanted to believe. The team was left with a recording and a question that would haunt them forever. Had they drilled into hell itself, the line between science and myth had been crossed. The screams from the abyss would echo far beyond Siberia. The story was no longer just about geology. It was about the limits of human understanding. The scientists had opened a door, and what came through could never be forgotten. The legend of the Kola Super Deep borehole was born, and the world would never be the same. The abyss had answered, and it screamed. The control room was silent, the memory of the screams hanging heavy in the air. Dr. Azakov, a man of science, was shaken to his core. He reportedly said, "As a scientist, I now believe in hell." The atmosphere in the camp changed overnight. Curiosity replaced by dread. No one wanted to approach the borehole. Workers reported nightmares and a sense of overwhelming fear. The project, once a symbol of progress, became a source of terror. The team faced a dilemma: what to do with the recording? Releasing it could cause panic. Hiding it felt like burying the truth. The weight of their discovery was immense. They had peered into the abyss, and the abyss had screamed back. The scientists felt they had tampered with forces beyond their understanding. The Kola Super Deep borehole was now a wound in the earth and in their minds. The legend was no longer just a story. It was a warning. Some mysteries, they realized, are better left undisturbed. Despite efforts to contain it, the story and the recording escaped. The tale spread from Finnish newspapers to the world, sensationalized as Russian scientists hear the screams of the damned. Its biggest platform came from a Christian broadcasting network in the United States. The chilling 17-second audio was played on air, presented as proof of hell. For millions, it was a divine warning, a confirmation of faith and a tool for evangelism. The story spread rapidly, fueled by Cold War tensions and religious fervor. The Russian scientists' quest for knowledge had become a global sermon of fear. The audio, real or not, terrified listeners and strengthened beliefs. The legend became a modern myth, echoing from radios and televisions worldwide. The screams from the borehole were no longer a secret. They were a phenomenon. The world was captivated and terrified. The abyss had found its voice. The broadcast split the world. Believers saw proof of hell. Skeptics saw a hoax. Churches filled with fearful worshippers. Scientists demanded evidence. The story's origins were murky, the audio unverified. Believers argued science had stumbled upon the supernatural. Skeptics pointed to the lack of credible sources and possible fabrication. The debate raged, faith clashing with reason. The legend grew, fueled by retellings and new witnesses. The Kola Super Deep borehole became a symbol of the unknown. Was it proof of the afterlife, or just a modern myth? The world was left to wonder. As the legend spread, so did stories from supposed eyewitnesses. Some claimed the camp was haunted by fear and paranoia after the recording. Others described supernatural events, plumes of gas, demonic shapes, equipment failures. The site was said to be cursed, a place where something ancient had been disturbed. Skeptics dismissed these tales as fiction, but they made the legend more terrifying. The truth was impossible to verify. The whispers from the pit only deepened the mystery. The drilling stopped, officially due to extreme heat, but legend says the site was sealed out of fear. The borehole was capped. A man into the Siberian wilderness. The legend became a warning. Some mysteries are better left alone. The Kola Super Deep Borehole stands as a monument to human curiosity and its dangers. Was it a hoax, mass hysteria, or a glimpse into the unknown? The truth remains buried in darkness. Be careful what you search for in the deep. You might just find